What's the current situation of my TBR? I'm so glad you asked. Sometime during the pandemic, I had a stroke of genius where I wanted to track my current reads with a spreadsheet. I was like, if I rank these by how long I've owned them, and then make an equation that includes the number of weeks I've owned them, on a scale of 1 to 10 how much I want to read it, on a scale of 1 to 10 how much my best friend wants me to read them, that will then spit out a number at me that I can order from greatest to least, and then I'm only reading the books that I've owned for the longest, so I'm getting them out of the way and done, but also, it's the ones I'm most excited for. And that just isn't working for me anymore.
Imagine how tired we are.
And for like 2 years, I convinced myself that that was a satisfying way to read. I was eliminating my stockpile from the bottom up. And the one advantage to that was the fact that if I started something and immediately didn't like it, I had no guilt getting rid of it and DNFing it because I'd owned it for so long, I've probably outgrown it. We're done.
You're done.
But I did not think to apply that logic across the entirety of my TBR by thinking, oh, if that's true for the book I'm currently reading, it might be true for a lot of them. Lately, I've just been in a rut feeling like I haven't been reading 5-star books. I haven't been reading books that I love. I haven't been reading new releases, which is all true, because the only thing I've been reading is either sequels to things, maybe a library book of a more recent book, or books that I put on my TBR back in 2019 when I was a different person. This is the beginning of a series where I'm switching up how I operate my TBR. In the pursuit of finding books that I enjoy again, I have felt so stuck in the way that I was reading. I know it is totally a personal choice and I could have just woken up one day and been like, fuck the spreadsheet, let me just read what I wanna. But it's been so long now that I feel tied to it, so I need some big action to unglue me from it. And the form that that glue dissolver comes in is my money struggles. I had the bright and great idea that, hey, since books are readily available to me and 90% of the ones that I own anyway I probably got secondhand, and they are not ones that are top of my TBR, new releases, whatever the case may be, I can probably just get rid of like 90% of my TBR, and if I ever want to read those books, I can get them from the library. So part 1 of this journey is just the cleanse. I currently have like 4 shelves and a cart and books laying around everywhere that are unread. We just need to get rid of all the unread books that realistically I don't think I'm ever gonna read, or I want to read, but they're not a big priority. And I may not be that interested in it anymore, but if I ever feel the need to pick it up, ebook, library, options. Spoiler alert, this decision happened spur of the moment one night, and so I've already recorded me doing that. I just felt like I should back up and make this its own separate series, because after we do this whole purging process of getting rid of most of my TBR, I want to challenge myself. I want to do things that I've been, for lack of better words, afraid to do. I don't know, reading should be fun. Obviously I have fun doing it or I wouldn't do it, but I haven't allowed myself to just throw away rules and read what I want to read and not feel some sort of guilt, because I've felt such urgency to read books that I've owned for a long time. So if I get rid of the books I've owned for a long time and I start to challenge some of the rules I made for myself the past couple of years, my goal doing this is to be at a place where I'm just constantly reading books that I love, or at least setting myself onto the road where I'm able to enjoy things more freely. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That will come in time. Let's cut now to me doing the big TBR shift of 2023, if you will. It will go down in history books. Okay, I'm doing something quite significant, so I think I need to bring you with me. I had it in my mind that I need to do some cleansing of this, specifically of this, which is all the books I have not read yet. I've explained it a little bit before, but I am in a predicament, kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And I know I open myself up to a lot of criticism if I discuss this, because the first reaction is gonna be, well, you just traveled to Cancun, you did this, and you have this, and you've been doing this. Stop doing that and save money. Which is valid. Lately, I did not realize how much of a hole I would have put myself in. So, hi, Editing Whitney here. The thing I forgot to mention that's probably is the real reason, even though I don't owe you an explanation, but I also did just get $600 worth of dental care done. So, you see this tooth? $600. Root canal slay. I'm still learning how to be better with finances, and I'm an adult who can do what I want. I'm gonna be selling a lot of my books. I've always had it in my head, I don't need to own this many books on a physical TBR. And that's the majority of what I'm getting rid of, is books on my TBR. Because I love my library. I have a Kindle. Probably 75% of the books that I own were bought from used bookstores, where the only reason I bought them is because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap, I'll never find it at that price again, I have to get it. And you've been here for the past couple of months where I go to my library bookstore and just buy a million things because they're $1. I did really want to read them, but as someone who now needs to buy groceries, I probably could have lived without. So I'm going to be reopening my Depop shop. By the time you're watching this, I will have listed probably a bunch of books. I'll have that linked down below. And the weird thing is, I have a couple of rare things that I don't know what to do with. For instance, and let me know if you want to be the special buyer that gets this, but I have an Arc of Prisoner of Azkaban. Terrible condition, written on and ripped. But I've seen this on eBay for like $1,500 for a new one. I know it's against book protocol to sell Arcs, but this is from 1999, and also she's kind of canceled. And also, I could really use some change right now, so is it time to get rid of this? What's the current sentiment on selling Arcs? What do I do? This is being really vulnerable to admit this on the internet, but I have these Polish editions of the Captive Prince series. I don't want to talk about it, but they're like nice covers. I don't know Polish. I'm sure a stan out there somewhere would want these. Maybe? I think this is the Owl Crate version of Sorcery of Thorns. I want to get rid of this. No idea how much it's worth. This out of print cover of The Diviners. I've seen it for $4 and I've seen it for $60, so I don't know if that's worth something. Also, I have a manuscript of Restore Me. On this topic, I have, please hold, these are boxes full of Shatter Me stuff over the years. This is a plushie of Warner that I'm sure is worth nothing. This is covered in dust, but like the excerpt of Ignite Me before it came out, an excerpt of Restore Me before it came out, a signed bookmark, the tattoos that came with the Ignite Me pre-order, character cards. I don't even know what this is. Oh, a propaganda flyer for the reestablishment. I just have boxes and boxes of Shatter Me swag. I don't know how much of this I realistically would keep. I've not touched this in probably 2 years. Part of me is tempted. Do I just sell someone a package deal of a shit ton of Shatter Me swag? So this is all just like boring stuff. And this has a necklace from the 2011 launch. A keychain signed from the 2011 launch. Another necklace from the 2011 launch. I have like Shatter Me character cards, a Supreme Commander patch. These are all recent. Oh my god. I had her sign a phone case the first time I met her, not realizing how fast iPhones depreciate. So if anyone wants an iPhone 5 case, this is so funny. And then just a shit ton of candles I've never used. I don't wear these, obviously. I don't look at them. I don't think about them. Is it time to sell them? But does anyone care? I don't see, that's where I'm stuck. So I'm going through my TBR right now and deciding like what's keep, what's get rid of. What am I convinced I'm gonna give 5 stars that I absolutely have to keep? So I'm just gonna go through my TBR and then I'll come back with an update. So we meet again, Edgar. I think it has to go in the sell pile. Sorry. Okay, well, it went from 4 shelves and an entire rack to 2 shelves. I kept only the books that either were a special edition, they were so new and I'm so excited for them that I don't want to get rid of them yet, or books that I think I'm gonna give 5 stars. Hi, bud. Oh. Oh. Hi! How was that? Good boy. Anyway, so that means that whole bottom shelf, that whole second shelf, and all of this I'm gonna get rid of. I'm sure some of it people wouldn't have any interest in on Depop, like stickers. I might be doing a drop-off at some little free libraries, or potentially trying half-price books first. We'll see. But I've been thinking about doing this for so long. I thought about just getting rid of all of my TBR, but I don't think I could do that. I'm sure I might do a second pass and get rid of more later on, but hopefully this will also get rid of my weirdly unfounded need to only read the oldest books that I own, because now the oldest books I own, I'm getting rid of. So now the pickings are either a physical book that I own that I know I'm gonna love, or I can read it from the library, then I don't feel bad if I DNF it or don't like it. Okay, well, time to take 1,000,001 pictures of all the books I need to list.
One eternity later.
All of these I've taken pictures of and I just need to list them. I'm gonna do these tomorrow. But also I forgot last night I had picked all of these out as things I could get rid of to make shelf space. I need to know if I have any Keaton Henson fans watching, because first of all, this was like one of his art books that was out of print, so I bought it in German because I was desperate to own it, and now I'm like, I don't know who would buy that. And also, I mean, you can see the cover's dirty, but this is like his $75, maybe it was even $90 book. It has music in it that you can listen to as you read, like a little graphic novel kind of artwork book. I don't know that anyone would buy this from me full price. This might be one that I list on eBay to see if there's any fans, but if anyone here wants this, I don't know that I'll break even on my investment for either of these, but I was in a big Keaton Henson phase in college. Okay, well, I'm sweating, and that was a lot, but I feel so much lighter. Say hi, kitties. Good boy. Say hi, Rosie. Good girl. Do I want to test my luck? Say hi, Henson. Yeah, everyone but him. You're not very chatty.
3 days later.
So, here's the current situation. This shelf and the one below it are the only TBR books that I'm keeping. And let's be honest, some of these, I don't know if I'll ever read. A lot of these ones that I just haphazardly added onto the top here are ones that were in my pile to get rid of. But then I was like, either that won't sell, or what am I kidding? I need to keep that because I think I'll like it. Some of these for obvious reasons I'm keeping, like this one was just a birthday present literally 2 weeks ago. This one would take me, what, 30 minutes to read because it's tiny and it's like a picture book basically. Why the heck not? This one is just so common, I don't think it would resell that well. And I'm kind of curious if I'd like it. I mean, what else? Tessa Dare, one of my favorite authors of all time. This copy of Rebecca is just so pretty, so I kind of want to keep it for a decor book, but I also want to give it a try. I read chapter 1 of this book on my flight to London and absolutely loved it, but then stopped reading it. But I know it's going to be amazing for obvious reasons. I doubt I will read either of these Victor Hugo books. It is my intention to one day do a vlog where I attempt to read Les Mis. I don't know what season of life for me that will occur in, but we'll see. This was a gift from a coworker at my previous job, and it's like her high school copy of this book that she loved and reread over and over, so I can't get rid of it. I owe it to her. And what do we have down here? Books I bought recently, book by an author I adore. Of course I can't get rid of this one. I haven't even read that yet. Is that crazy for me? This one was a gift from Shelby. Same with this one. I'm really excited. Hello, Winnie the Pooh, go away. I'm really excited about this one. I think I'm really gonna like it. Julie Murphy, you can never go wrong. I love a fat main character, so gotta keep those. Topics that I'm interested in, easy to read romance. Another author I adore. I debated getting rid of this one because I'm sure I'm gonna have a hard time, but it's fine. And then just more miscellaneous things that I would drop anything to start any of those because I'm really interested in them. And that's about it. I mean, I know it's still quite a few, but I think if I put the Victor Hugo books on my classics shelf instead of my TBR, it probably would only be like a shelf and a half. And if I'm being optimistic, I could probably read all of these in a year. On the other hand, these shelves and this guy has got to go. So these are all listed on Depop. The bane of my existence is that on Depop you can now make offers. So this morning someone offered me like $4 for a bunch of books, which I had to decline. But eventually I will get to a place where these shelves are open and my wallet is not. I don't know that this was a super fun first video in this series because I haven't done any actual reading, but I think it is the necessary setup to where we will get later on. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, a big step here is that I reordered all of my books by author last name and not by spreadsheet order. So we start at Alcott and we end at kind of Williams, kind of Wells. Couldn't really fit everything there. But now we are purely alphabetical. The second I finish a book, I will just be drawing from this at random. So part 2 of this series, I will get some actual reading done. The only problem is I'm currently in the middle of 4 books. So I need to get those out of the way before I can truly delve into this. So give me a minute. But still, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you go and check out some of the books I have for sale. I know that's like the 5th time I've said that, but I know it doesn't really feel like I've done anything because all these books are still sitting around and taking up space, but genuinely I feel such a relief of like letting go of this structure that I'd set for myself that didn't need to be that way. I'm hoping that in like 6 months I can sit here and say that I have read like my favorite books of the year, because right now, slim pickings for runner of the year of best book, because I don't know that I've rated anything 5 stars this year, and I'm going to fix that. So thank you for tuning in. The sun is setting, so we are fastly losing light, but definitely join me back for the rest of the series. I will have them interspersed with regular reading vlogs. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye.